This is a story about Hartford, Connecticut, but it could be a story about any city in the United States. It is a familiar urban tale about rivers, sewers, and roads. The story almost always starts with a river. Hartford is an early American city. Over the centuries, its geography has been manipulated and shaped to serve the ambitions of men. Most know Hartford primarily as a knot of highway interchanges along the 4-hour New York to Boston bus ride. Hartford is home to the nation's oldest public park, oldest public art museum, and the oldest continuously published newspaper. 19th and 20th century architectural icons and civic monuments line Capitol Avenue. Hartford's geography made the spot an attractive place to settle. The intersection of the Connecticut and Park Rivers was an appealing hub along the fur trade route. The first settlers at this confluence point were fur traders in 1614. The English arrived in the 1630s, and the city was formally established in 1635. The Connecticut River is the largest in New England, and Hartford is relatively close to the sea, so it wasn't long before the river was bustling with shipping activity and world trade. The high level of investment in foreign goods among Hartford's entrepreneurs drove the need for insurance to protect from fire, pirates, and other tragedies at sea. Hartford's growth as an international port, coupled with increasing industrial activity along the Connecticut River, fueled the need for specialized insurance companies and positioned Hartford as the insurance capital of the world. In addition to giving rise to the insurance industry, the Connecticut River and Park River determined Hartford's urban form. Both rivers originally flowed through Hartford, dividing the city into 4 sectors: north, south, west, and east. The Connecticut River is a tributary of the Long Island Sound and is teeming with wildlife. It links Hartford to the regional ecosystem, in some cases even further afield, as far as the Sargasso Sea. Catadromous fish, which are fish that live in freshwater but swim into saltwater to spawn, rely on being able to move between the Long Island Sound and the Connecticut River. The American eel is one such aquatic Hartford resident. It is a remarkable creature. The American eel migrates from its home in the Connecticut River to the Sargasso Sea near the Bermuda Triangle to spawn and then die. The young American eels then swim back to the Connecticut River to mature until it's their time to return to the Sargasso Sea, continuing the cycle. A river is a mighty force, and as Hartford's population grew and industrial activity increased, the Park River came in conflict with a thriving urban settlement on its banks. A series of disastrous floods took place during the early 1900s. In 1909, the river surged to 24 feet above low water level. To solve the problem, Hartford engineers replaced the natural riverbanks with concrete walls so that the river was contained and more easily controlled. In 1940, sections of the Park River were altogether buried underground in a concrete conduit. The Park River flows underneath downtown Hartford to this day. The conduit is so large that people have made a sport of kayaking through it. If you look closely at existing buildings, you can see evidence of the channel underground. A less romantic vestige of 19th century Hartford is its combined sewer system. An infrastructural solution common among older American cities, combined sewer systems collect sanitary sewage and stormwater runoff in a single pipe. On a typical day, both waste streams are directed to a water treatment plant. During heavy rain events, the water treatment plant quickly reaches capacity, and any combined stormwater and sewage outflow bypasses the treatment plant and is directed to outfalls that spill into the nearest natural water body. At the time it was implemented, a sewer system was a welcome innovation. But today, these systems are unequipped to handle the high quantity of stormwater runoff. But where is the water coming from? The additional water is a result of surface runoff from the abundance of roads and other impervious surfaces. Impervious surfaces like asphalt and concrete don't allow water to infiltrate the ground. Instead, water is directed into drains that empty into the combined sewer system. And in Hartford, this frequently ends up in the rivers. Thousands of gallons of untreated, nitrogen-rich stormwater are released into the Connecticut River annually, which has a disastrous effect on habitats within the larger regional ecosystem. Fish whose life cycles rely on migrating between water bodies, like the American eel, are especially vulnerable to poor water quality. As Hartford grew, it became a hub of precision manufacturing. Colt firearms are manufactured in Hartford, but more relevant to our story is the entrepreneur Colonel Albert Augustus Pope. He was the manufacturer of Columbia bicycles and later electric automobiles. In 1892, Pope addressed the president in an open letter with these words: "The construction of the public road is eminently a matter of the first and highest importance to any people. Communication between one point and another is the idea standing first in the mind of the settler, and we see the progress of the idea developing with the country to become the splendid asphalt which is the privilege of some of us to enjoy today." This Hartford innovator ironically championed for better roads. Now, Hartford is beleaguered by them. After World War II, Hartford followed a trajectory similar to other post-industrial American cities. The suburbs of Hartford prospered, while the inner city experienced a decline. The construction of highways through the center of the city of Hartford supported a commuter-based workforce and contributed to the physical isolation of the inner city. An economic boom in the early 1980s was not enough to resurrect the city. Although major skyscrapers were planned, they were not realized, and many sites still sit abandoned and function as parking lots. Yet the Park River still flows beneath it all. This is a story about nature being molded in our image, about progress and its unintended consequences. This story of Hartford can be taken as a parable of the contemporary American city, a familiar urban tale about rivers, sewers, and roads. This story is changing.